T8 PlankWall was created to give you the beautiful look of distressed wood, walnut wood, or burnt wood, all with the benefits of metal siding. In this video, we'll go over the basics on how to install it for a vertical and horizontal wall application. This is the Metal Roofing Learning Channel. Brought to you by Western States Metal Roofing, where you can find a variety of colors and finishes, all while saving by buying factory direct. Use of the following video content is subject to the warning, disclaimer of warranties, and limitation of liability as set forth on this screen. In this video, we'll go over preparation, installing J-trim, trimming the width of TA PlankWall, Z-trim, TA PlankWall vertical installation, TA PlankWall horizontal installation, inside corner trim, and outside corner trim. Preparation. TA PlankWall is designed with a male and female leg. When starting your installation, you should always place the female leg towards the next panel that will be installed. The next panel's male leg then attaches to the female leg. Always plan your layout prior to installing TA PlankWall. You do not want to start installing your panels and end up with a small section of coverage at the end of your run. If this happens, you should trim your first panel to provide a symmetrical final result. Also note that walnut wood and distressed wood come in 4 patterns: pattern A, B, C, and D. When ordering T8 PlankWall in walnut wood or distressed wood, Western States Metal Roofing will take your order and automatically divide it into the 4 patterns A, B, C, and D for every length of panel. When installing your panels, you want to make it a point not to put similar patterns side by side. By varying the patterns, you will get a more natural looking result. Prior to installing T8 PlankWall, base trim and J-trim should be installed. For a step-by-step video on how to install base trim, check out this video. Installing J-trim. J-trim is used on the top section of your wall and will secure your panels in place. J-trim is fastened with pancake screws 12 inches on center. For an inside corner, you will prepare your 2 sections of trim with 2 types of cuts. A cut that will result in a tab, and a cut that will have an open hem for the tab section to be inserted. Open hem cut. Start by marking a 45-degree angle onto the top section of your J-trim. Next, draw a straight line on the face side of your J-trim as shown here. Using metal cutting snips, cut along your mark. Pry open the hem of your face side of your trim. Tab cut. On your adjacent piece of trim, draw a 45-degree line on the top section of your trim. Then, draw a straight line on the face side of your trim. Notch cut a tab on the face side of your trim up to your line. With a hand seamer, bend the tab upwards 90 degrees. The 2 sections should come together as shown here, with the tab inserting into the slightly opened hem. Similar to an inside corner, you will prepare your 2 sections of trim with 2 types of cuts. A cut that will result in a tab, and a cut that will have an open hem for the tab section to be inserted. Open hem cut. When preparing your J-trim for an outside corner, you will need additional material than just the width of your wall. You will need to mark the width of your wall, plus the width of the depth side of your J-trim. This will ensure you have material for the adjacent section of trim to come together seamlessly. on the face side of your trim to mark the width of your wall plus the width of the depth side of your J-trim. Then, draw a 45-degree line on the top section of your trim. Next, draw a straight line on the back side of your trim, as shown here. Using metal cutting snips, cut along your mark. Pry open the hem of your face side of your trim. Tab cut. On the back side of your trim, measure the distance needed to be flushed with the end of your wall. On the top side and face side of your trim, add the distance needed to be flushed with the end of your wall and add the depth size of your trim. Then, on the face side of your trim, add an additional inch, which will become a tab. Cut along the red lines as shown here. The additional material on the face side of your trim will become a tab that you will then fold downwards 90 degrees. The two sections should come together as shown here, with the tab inserting into the slightly opened hem. A pop rivet can be used for a strong connection between the two sections of trim. Trimming the width of T8 plank wall. When trimming the width of your panel, start by marking where your panel will be cut. Mark the top and lower sections of the trim and make a chalk line across. Trim your panel to its desired width using metal cutting snips. When you are ready to install the trim section, you will need to install Z-trim first to support the cut section of trim. Z-trim. Z-trim is fastened with pancake screws 12 inches on center. Z-trim is used to support the ends of a panel run. They not only provide support to a panel, but also provide more material to secure your pop rivets. When applying Z-trim for a trimmed panel, the top section of Z-trim should land flush with the edge of your trimmed T8 plank wall. Place a bead of butyl sealant onto the Z-trim. Pop rivet your panel onto the top section of Z-trim 12 inches on center. For corner trim situations, Z-trim will be used in both vertical and horizontal applications. For horizontal applications, small sections of Z-trim will be used at the ends of each panel. The sections of Z-trim provide a stronger support between your panel, corner trim, and substrate. Installing T8 plank wall for a vertical application. When installing T8 plank wall for a vertical application, panels are simply inserted into the J-trim first, then pressed flush to the base trim. Make sure your panel is straight prior to fastening. Fasten your trim on the female side with pancake screws 12 inches on center. Next, insert the male leg of the adjacent panel and repeat the process by fastening pancake screws 12 inches on center onto the female leg. Installing T8 plank wall for a horizontal application. When installing T8 plank wall horizontally, you will need to trim the male side of the panel off. This will allow the panel to lay flush with the base trim. To do this, start by trimming your panel's male leg. Next, place Z-trim along the lower section of your wall with pancake screws 12 inches on center. Install trimmed T8 plank wall with pancake screws 12 inches on center. Then install a section of alternate wall trim, leaving a 1/4 inch gap at the bottom. Prior to installing your alternate trim, you should trim the hems on both ends of your trim. The cuts should be the width of the corner trim you will be installing. Install your alternate trim with pop rivets 12 inches on center. Corner trim. Whether you are installing an inside corner or an outside corner trim, the process is identical. Start by applying a bead of butyl sealant along the inside of both sides of your trim. Insert your corner trim into the J-trim. Then allow it to fall flush with your base trim. Fasten each side of the trim with pop rivets 12 inches on center. You can find step-by-step installation videos and homeowner guides on our channel. And don't forget to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribe. Want to learn more about metal roofing? Check out these videos.